Okay, we're doing a little bit of a different video here today. This is my grandson, Aiden. Aiden, if you've read my book, is Shannon's son. And part of the responsibility I feel as a parent and a grandparent is to share my knowledge with my children and my grandchildren so that their socioeconomic position in the world can be better than mine. And with my children, I have achieved that. They eat at better restaurants than I do. So Aiden lives in Atlanta. I live in Birmingham, and Nita and I invited him over, and he's here for a couple of days. And I asked him if, when I invited him, if he'd be willing to come on and do a video with me and share his take on the world that is changing. And believe it or not, I asked him to read this book. But he's like me; he prefers Audible. So you did listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did listen to it. And so last night I asked him, okay, what is it? What part of this book do you want to talk about? And much to my surprise, he said quantum computing. Probably the most difficult subject that we touch in this book. And in the book, The Future is Faster Than You Think, the author dedicates a good part of a chapter, pages 27 through, I believe it's about 32, on quantum computing and explaining how it's going to affect our future. So, Aiden, with that said, you share with me and our audience what your take was.
I mean, I guess the general idea about it was normal computers, they're binary, so there's ones and zeros, and everything's either a 1 or a 0. But with quantum computing, it can be both. It can be more instances of 1 and then more instances of 0. It can be in 2 places at once, and that allows for a lot more data processing and analytics and that sort of thing. So it allows for a lot more, I guess, a lot faster research.
Okay. And what areas of your life, and let's push you ahead 10 years, after you've completed your education, where do you see, or let's just say in the next 10 years, where do you see quantum computing making a difference in all of our lives?
I guess, as far as medical stuff goes, for different drugs and trial periods and that sort of thing, instead of having to go through all the difficulties of testing on people and taking years to research new drugs and all that, you can plug all the information into the computer, and without having to, I guess, go through all the human interaction, the computer can sort of run, more tests than we could in a year in a minute.
Yeah. I in fact saw an interview with a noted professor from Harvard who basically said, and he was about my age or maybe a little younger, but he was basically saying that he would have a cure for cancer before 2030, and before 2050 he would be able to reduce aging. Now, the only issue I have with that is I don't think I'll make it to 2050. But if I should, you and I might reverse roles. So as again, and I just really encourage you to get this book. It will open your eyes up to so many things. They made the comparison that back in the 80s and 90s, as computers came online and more people got access to the ability to use the computer and develop the computer, it exponentially grew. They gave some example that in 1 year there was something like 300 websites, and then the next year there was 3,000, and then it just exploded. And they're saying that's exactly, and that's part of what is called Moore's law. But now they're using a word called Rose's law, the ROSE, that says the quantum computing will just blow that up, and it will change it dramatically. So if you're an investor, and how are you an investor?
Eh.
I mean, do you have any money to invest?
I've got a little bit, but I think I've got like a few stocks that my dad bought for me or something.
Okay.
I don't really know.
Okay. If with your limited knowledge and what I've shared with you, what stocks do you think are the stocks of the future?
I know for sure Google's work, like as far as developing a quantum computer goes, Google's doing really good on that. I've seen videos and I've seen, tests and all that. So they're going to be one of the big names in that. And
Okay.
then as far as applications for it, I really think like medicines and I guess treatments.
Okay.
I think that.
Okay. I think also in that area, IBM is developing a quantum computer program, as is Amazon. I don't know, from what I can read, I'm not sure Amazon owns their own computer, but they have access to one because Amazon actually has, as far as cloud computing and amount of data stored on computers today, Amazon probably is the leader. So I think the other thing that's going to happen is what these quantum computers are going to enable is the ability to access data, compare data, organize data, and then feed it back to us. The question I've always had, and Amy Webb addresses this in the Big Nine, is if Facebook has a certain amount of data, but that's different data than Amazon's, and Apple has a lot of data, but that's different data than Amazon and Facebook's, and then Google has a lot of data. And Amy suggests that there will be a time where cloud computing will become more of a pooled source of data, and it's beneficial for you and I as citizens, but it will also become beneficial for the holders of data as well to have access to the pool. The other issue I think that has to be addressed is how do you bring this together, and how do you get governments involved in it? Yeah, because it's going to take a joint effort to make something like this happen. Okay, so what else impressed you, or where else do you think the world is going to change dramatically in the next 10 years?
I re-listened to the first part about the flying cars and the Uber.
Yeah.
In cities like LA, I think they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could work out really well.
Yeah. You think, in fact, as we were driving over here, Aiden and I had a conversation about how long will the internal combustion engine be a part of our society, and he initially didn't agree with me that the internal combustion engine was going to disappear. But I think, as you say, if you read that Uber and then Google with Waymo are working, and then Tesla is coming into this as well. And the autonomous automobile, I think, it just has so many reasons why it should work.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you aware of the different approach that Tesla has as opposed to Google's Waymo?
I mean, I know Tesla right now, at least, there's still, there's still a wheel. You're still supposed to be like driving, or at
Yes.
least aware. But for Google, they don't have a wheel or anything like that.
I think they still have the steering wheel because they're using the Chrysler Pacifica, but the whole idea is there will be no driver in that car. I think it's just that the vehicles aren't available as of yet.
Okay.
And they're using a different technology. They're using something called LASAR, which requires that every city be mapped. But then Google has shown us they can map any city anytime they want. So I see that as more as a public transportation vehicle, where if 6 guys in my neighborhood wanted to go downtown in the morning to work and get rid of the vehicle that they have in their garage, they would have a community transport. 6 of them go down, they don't have to pay parking, and they just go on their phone, and that's more of an Uber possibility. And then I think the flying car thing is going to be a part of the future, and I think that's amplified by the situation we have right now. I'm not comfortable getting on a plane with 200 other people, and I don't know when I will. Yeah. You're going to Boca Raton or someplace later this month.
Marco Island,
yeah. But he's got a friend whose father's father or something like that has a 200-foot yacht, and so I asked him if he was flying commercial or private jet. He doesn't know just yet, but I hope it's private jet. Okay. Well, anything else that you see in the future that you want to get involved in, and what direction do you think you'll be going?
As far as like careers?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I guess I've got to see I don't know. I got to wait and see what ends up being when it's time for me to go to college and all that. What's like a big up and coming market? What's a big field that's going to be the next thing?
It's YouTube. No, and I want you to, as I have told my viewers, you need to think digital. As I have said, you don't want to get in any business where you have to have follow-up customers, where you have to have planned obsolescence. You want a digital product, and right now those leaders are the big 9, and that is IBM, Alibaba, Microsoft, Tencent, Apple, Baidu, Amazon, and Google. I'm personally a little bit afraid of China right now, and how the world order is going to play out. If the world is going to make China responsible for the coronavirus and what the ramifications of that are. The other thing that I think we have to keep in mind is the demographics of the world. We need to remember that China had a one-child policy from 1975 through 2015. So they're running into a period of time where they don't have labor. They have an overabundance of men. They have a shortage of women. They have some demographic problems. So if you're an investor, the most important thing you can do is educate yourself. Read these kind of books and come to understand how we got to where we are and what the situation is, who the big players are, and then what technology is going to bring you in the future. Okay, Aiden, close it out. What else you got on your mind?
I don't know. What's there?
Okay, that's Aiden. Emma's coming tomorrow. I don't think I can get Emma in front of a camera, but maybe the two of them can. So that's our take on the market. Keep yourself well managed because we're going to have some dips as a result of the coronavirus spiking again and the lack of social distancing. So good investments.